Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Saturday, January 24, 2026. And I have to be honest with you right out of the gate. The vibe out there this morning, it feels heavy. It feels loaded.
It does. It feels incredibly heavy.
Yeah.
There is a palpable shift in the air. You can feel it.
I think a lot of us are waking up with what I'm calling the Davos hangover. The World Economic Forum just wrapped up in Switzerland. And usually, let's be real, that event is just...
It's noise.
It's just noise. A bunch of people in $4,000 suits eating expensive canapes in the snow and talking about synergy. It's pretty easy to ignore.
Yeah, you just let it wash over you.
But this year was different. There was one specific interview that is absolutely burning up the internet. You can't scroll for 5 seconds without seeing a clip of it.
You are referring, of course, to the conversation between Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, and Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock.
Exactly. The titan of data defense meets the titan of asset management. And look, if you were with us for our last deep dive, episode 1, which we just dropped recently, we were in a very different headspace.
Oh, completely different.
We were introducing MyAIRole, we were talking about the founder, Jorg Huser, and we really unpacked this concept of the AI Superpower Assessment. That conversation was optimistic.
It was.
It was about rewiring for relevance. It was about hope and individual agency.
It was about individual empowerment.
Yeah.
It was about finding your unique fingerprint in a world of, standardized machines. It felt light.
Right. But today feels different. We realized we couldn't just leave it there. We had to come back and do this second deep dive immediately because that interview at Davos, it felt like a cold bucket of ice water.
That's a good way to put it.
It was a stark, brutal reminder of the other narrative we are up against.
I think that's the perfect way to frame it. If episode 1 was about the hope of what human-AI collaboration can be, the sunshine scenario, episode 2, today, is about survival. It's about the absolute necessity of human command.
Human command, that's it.
Because if you listen to what Alex Karp is saying, really listen to the architecture of his argument, the alternative is, well, it's pretty bleak.
It's startling. So here is the mission plan for today. We are going to unpack this Karp-Fink interview. We have to dissect it, not to be depressing, but because we have to understand the landscape we are operating in.
You have to know what you're up against.
Exactly. We need to look at the battlefield mentality. But then, and this is critical, we are going to pivot back to MyAIRole, but from a totally different angle.
Right.
We aren't talking about the momentum drivers or the innovators today. We aren't talking about the people who build fast. We are talking about the guardrails, the guardians, the people who stand between us and this battlefield AI mentality.
This is the so what discussion. In a world where tech giants view AI as a weapon systems architecture, where does the human soul fit in? And I don't mean that in a metaphysical way. I mean in a business way. Where does human judgment fit?
Okay, let's set the stage. The inciting incident. You have Larry Fink, who runs the biggest asset management firm in the world. We're talking trillions of dollars.
Trillions with a T.
Interviewing Alex Karp, who runs Palantir, one of the most powerful and, let's face it, most controversial data analytics and defense companies in the world. And the tone, it wasn't, how do we help people? It was darker. It was militaristic.
Much darker. I went through the transcript of that interview with a fine-tooth comb, and the rhetoric is relentless. Karp uses the word battlefield constantly. He frames the entire global economy not as a market, but as a theater of war.
He really does. It's us versus them in everything he says.
He talks about how the ground truth of what works only comes from the battlefield. He dismisses the corporate world as being full of PowerPoint realities.
I found that part fascinating. He's basically saying, if your systems haven't been tested in a war zone, literally or metaphorically, they are fluff. They don't exist in the real world.
Right. He's essentially arguing that the only valid data is survival data. Everything else is just a story you're telling yourself in a comfortable office.
He literally said that the enterprise has significant holes in it, and that when you go to battle, you find out half your enterprise doesn't work. Which, okay, fine, point on efficiency.
Sure. We can all agree with that on some level.
We've all worked in corporations where things are bloated. But then he pivots to cost cutting, and this is the part that I think sent a shiver down everyone's spine.
This is where it got personal for a lot of people.
He talked about taking out the cost structure. He called it the fat in the middle.
The fat in the middle.
Yeah.
That is the phrase that is going to haunt 2026.
Uh-huh.
I saw it screenshotted and posted everywhere.
And if you are listening to this and you are a middle manager or a project coordinator or just a human being who processes data, creates reports, or manages a team,
Or translates between teams.
yes, He just called you fat. He just called you expendable friction.
And we have to look at why that generated such a visceral reaction online. We pulled some of the public comments from the YouTube video of this interview, and the sentiment isn't just, "I disagree." It is terror. It is deep existential dread.
Oh, the comments are brutal. One person wrote, techno-capitalist dystopia. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Another said, "Unfathomable evil cloaked in business returns," which is, wow, that's heavy.
That's a punch. But you get it. You see where they're coming from when you listen to the tone of the conversation.
There's one that really struck me. "I feel like I'm living in a DC Marvel comic book about evil geniuses." And honestly, you have to look at the optics.
You do.
You have Karp with his wild hair, which acts as its own character, really.
Yeah, its own agent, I think.
Exactly. And he's speaking in these rapid-fire philosophical bursts about war as a business opportunity. It feels like a monologue from a Bond villain. It really does.
Evil never combs its hair. That was one of the comments that made me laugh, but it's a nervous laugh, you know. It's gallows humor.
It is. Because underneath the jokes, there is this deep anxiety. People are saying, "I am extractable. I am a commodity." Think actually used the word commodity in relation to workers.
And that is the tension we are living in right now.
Yeah.
On one side, you have this battlefield mentality. It's Darwinian, it's hyper-efficient, it's cold.
It's cold.
It views humans as either vocational technicians, Karp specifically said we need more welders and fewer philosophy majors, or as fat to be cut.
But let's pause there. I want to push back on our own outrage for a second. Is he wrong?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because corporations are inefficient. Middle management is often slow. Isn't there a grain of truth in what he's saying that makes it so unsettling?
Of course there is. That's what makes it so dangerous. He isn't wrong about the inefficiency. The argument is seductive because it's based on a real problem.
Right.
In a pre-AI world, we needed layers of people to move information from Department A to Department B. We needed human routers. That was necessary friction.
A human API. A human API, exactly. In a post-AI world, Karp is arguing that friction is effectively theft from the shareholder. Why have a person summarize a meeting when the AI can do it instantly? The logic is sound if your only metric is speed and cost.
That's a big if, a huge if.
Exactly. If your only metric is, can we destroy the target or can we maximize the margin, then yes, humans are fat. But if your metric includes things like, is this ethical? Is this sustainable? Does this build trust? Is this actually true?
All the important stuff.
Then the human isn't fat. The human is the safety valve. The human is the conscience.
And on the other side of this tension is the mission of this deep dive. It's the counter-narrative. It's the belief that we are not just fat. It's the belief that as AI becomes more powerful, more militaristic, and more efficient, the need for human wisdom, human ethics, and human guardrails doesn't go away. It becomes the most valuable resource on the planet.
This brings us back to MyAIRole. In the last deep dive, we focused a lot on the technical and the speed aspects, the momentum drivers.
Yeah, the get-it-done people.
But today, we need to talk about human command. MyAIRole isn't just about finding a job so you can pay your mortgage, though it helps with that. It's about establishing the guardrails for this new reality. It focuses on innate human strength and ethics, the very things the battlefield view ignores or disdains.
Let's dig deeper into Karp's argument for a second, because we need to understand the threat before we can discuss the solution. He made a really complex point about civil liberties. It was counterintuitive. Did you catch that?
I did. It was a fascinating paradox, and we need to unpack it because it sounds good on the surface, but it falls apart under scrutiny.
It really does.
He argued that by using these massive data ontologies like Palantir's Foundry to process hospital intake or insurance underwriting, you actually improve civil liberties.
Okay, wait. Explain data ontologies for us. That's a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot, but I don't think everyone really gets what it means.
Sure. Think of an ontology as a map of reality for a computer. It's a set of rules and categories. If you just dump a bunch of files into a drive, patient records, doctor notes, billing codes, the computer doesn't know how they relate. It's just a pile of data.
Right, it's a digital junk drawer.
A junk drawer. Perfect. An ontology cleans up the drawer. It defines the relationships. It says a doctor treats a patient has a diagnosis requires a treatment. It creates a rigid, logical structure of how the world works, at least according to the system.
Okay, so it's a rigorous map, a rule book.
Exactly. And Karp's logic is that because the system follows this rigorous mathematical map, it can't be biased in the way a tired, overworked, maybe even prejudiced human doctor might be. He says showing is caring. If the math says treat this person, you treat them. It removes human caprice.
Okay, I see the argument. It's the machines are objective line of thinking. But the
Right.
commenters, they weren't buying it. Not for a second.
Not at all. And they are right to be skeptical. Because the question is, who drew the map? Who defined the ontology? Who wrote the rulebook?
Who taught the machine what a patient is?
Precisely. If the historical data used to build that map is biased, if it shows that certain demographics historically got less care or were diagnosed differently, the math will just cement that bias into an unbreakable rule. It will operationalize the bias at scale.
So instead of a racist doctor, you get a racist algorithm. But now it's invisible because it's wrapped in complex math and code.
And it's a million times faster. It can be racist to a million people a minute. That's why the commenters see Big Brother. They see totalitarianism. One commenter said, "We are now expendable under their technologies, spied on like China." There is a massive trust gap.
A chasm.
Karp says, trust the math, it's unbiased. The public says, I don't trust the people who programmed the math.
This leads us to the useless class fear. I mean, this was maybe the most direct attack. Karp, who, by the way, has a PhD in social theory from Frankfurt School. He is a philosopher king himself.
Which is the ultimate irony here.
It's a huge irony. He explicitly dismissed the value of a philosophy degree. He said those degrees are hard to market. He said we need vocational technicians, welders, people who do things with their hands.
It creates this binary world. You're either a coder soldier technician who fixes the machine, or you are obsolete. It's an adapt or die mentality.
And if you are that fat in the middle, the thinker, the writer, the coordinator, the person who majored in English because they love language, you are in trouble in his worldview.
You're a rounding error. You're a cost center.
War is huge e-business. Sad truth until we as a collective decide that you are my brother and sister. That was another comment that it hit hard. It feels like we are losing the human connection in favor of pure, brutal efficiency.
Which is the perfect transition. Because if Karp represents the military-industrial complex, the efficiency at all costs, we need to introduce the force that balances that out.
The counterweight.
The counterweight. We need to talk about the other founder of MyAIRole.
Yes. In episode 1, we spent a lot of time on Jorg Huser, the tech genius, the cybersecurity guy, the man who builds the engine. But we barely touched on his co-founder and wife, Karene Huser.
And we have to.
And looking at her background now, in the light of this Davos interview, it feels incredibly significant. It feels like she is the antidote.
He really does. So let's look at Karene Huser. She is the COO and CMO. She has 15-plus years supporting C-suites, private equity, government affairs. She's operated at a high level, so she's no stranger to the corporate world.
Not at all. She knows that world inside and out.
But there was one detail in her bio that stands out to me as the absolute antithesis of Alex Karp, the opposite of the battlefield.
I think I know what you're going to say. It's not what you'd expect on a tech founder's resume.
Hospitality.
Yes.
She ran a top-rated vacation rental business in Temecula wine country. We are talking over 900 five-star reviews on Airbnb.
900. Do you know how hard that is? I mean, really think about that. People complain about everything. The pillow was too soft, the sun was too bright.
The Wi-Fi password was too complicated.
Right. To get 900 five-star reviews, you have to be obsessive about the human experience.
Exactly. Think about the skill set required for that. It isn't battlefield efficiency. It's empathy. It's anticipating needs before the guest even knows they have them. It's conflict resolution. It's creating an experience where people feel safe, welcomed, and understood. It's high touch.
Karp is high-tech and battlefield. Karene is high-touch and vineyard. It's a perfect contrast.
And that is why MyAIRole is different. Karp's vision is that AI pen tests society. It's a penetration test. If you can't bear the load, you collapse. It's structural and Darwinian.
A stress test for humanity.
Yes. But Karene's vision, and by extension MyAIRole's vision, is relevance reimagined. It sees AI as a teammate. The mission statement literally says, the future will be shaped not by AI alone, but by the quality of collaboration between humans and AI.
Collaboration versus domination. That's the core difference.
Precisely. In the MyAIRole ecosystem, the human is the pilot. You are in command. In the Palantir ecosystem, the human is often just a node in the network or an obstacle to efficiency.
The fat in the middle.
The fat in the middle.
So if we accept that we don't want to be obstacles, but we also don't want to just be vocational technicians fixing the robots, what do? We need to command the AI. We need to govern it.
We need to command it. And this is where we get into the specific guardrail archetypes. We listed 10 archetypes in the last episode, but we mostly talked about the builders and the drivers.
Yeah, the more action-oriented roles.
Today, I want to focus on the ones that keep us safe, the ones that answer Karp's challenge directly, the ones that are the human conscience of the machine.
Let's do it. Because Karp made fun of the philosophy majors, he made fun of the liberal arts types, but I have a feeling those are exactly the people who fit into these roles.
You hit the nail on the head. Let's look at the first one, the AI Truth Assessor.
The Truth Assessor! I love that title. The definition is, keeps the facts straight and the risks low.
This is actually listed as one of Karene Huser's top superpowers on the site, bringing clarity and confidence to complex decisions. Now, apply this to the Davos conversation.
Okay.
Karp admits that AI works best on the battlefields because it's dealing with physics. A missile either hits or it misses. That is ground truth. But in the corporate world, or the civic world, AI hallucinates. It makes things up.
It lies with confidence.
It lies with incredible confidence. It generates infinite content that sounds plausible, but is factually wrong.
Right. So if you have an AI generating 1,000 legal briefs or medical diagnoses a minute, who is checking them? Who's the fact checker?
The Truth Assessor. Let's operationalize this. Let's make it real. Imagine a pharmaceutical company using an LLM to scan thousands of clinical trials to find a new drug candidate for Alzheimer's.
Okay. Huge potential value there.
Huge. The AI returns a promising molecule. In Karp's battlefield model, you might rush that to testing. Speed is everything.
Move fast and break things.
But the AI Truth Assessor, the human in the loop, digs into the citations. They are the skeptical reviewer. They realize the AI hallucinated a successful trial result by merging data from two different unrelated studies. It created a fact that doesn't exist.
Wow. So that human didn't write the code, they didn't build the model, but they just saved the company, what, $50 million? $100 million?
$50 million and potential lawsuits and, people's lives. That is the philosophy major at work. They're applying rigorous epistemological standard. How do we know this is true? To probabilistic machine output.
So it's not about being a techie. It's about being a critical thinker.
It's about being a professional skeptic. You aren't coding. You are auditing reality.
So when the YouTube commenter says we are being spied on like China, the truth assessor is the person inside the company asking, wait, is this data collection accurate? Is it real? Or is the model inferring things that aren't there and treating them as fact?
Exactly. They are the brakes. And in a Formula One car, the brakes are just as expensive and important as the engine. You can't go fast without good brakes.
I love that analogy. It's not about slowing down. It's about enabling speed safely.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. This one feels huge given the battlefield talk. The AI Quality Guardian.
The protector safeguards quality and compliance. This is another one of Karene's superpowers. It's right there in her profile.
Safeguarding quality. I mean, this is the core of the issue. Karp talked about hospitals. He said they all have an intake problem. And he said his software can process patients 15 times faster, which, great, efficiency. Nobody likes waiting in the ER.
No, of course not.
But as a patient, I don't just want to be processed fast. I want to be treated well. I want to be treated right.
That is the gap. That is the danger zone. If you optimize purely for speed, process the meat, so to speak, you lose the care. The AI Quality Guardian ensures that high-tech doesn't destroy high-touch.
Give me a specific example of what this person does on a Tuesday morning. What does their job look like?
Okay, Tuesday morning. You are a quality guardian at a major insurance firm. The AI has just flagged 500 claims for rejection based on a new algorithm that was just deployed. Efficiency-wise, that's a win. The system is working.
Right, the numbers look great for the quarterly report.
Exactly. But you, the guardian, you're not just looking at the numbers. You spot a pattern. You notice that the AI is rejecting claims for experimental treatment based on data that is 6 months old. It hasn't ingested the latest FDA approvals or the newest clinical guidelines.
So the machine is efficiently being wrong. It's confidently incorrect at scale.
Correct. The machine is efficiently denying life-saving care to potentially hundreds of people. The quality guardian steps in, halts the batch, updates the compliance protocol, and ensures those people get covered.
They are the immune system.
They are the immune system of the organization, fighting off the robotic coldness and the errors that come from pure speed.
And fighting off lawsuits. Let's be cynical for a second. If your AI discriminates against a protected class because of math, you are going to get sued into oblivion.
Massive class action lawsuits. The quality guardian is the person, maybe a former lawyer, maybe a compliance officer, who stops that from happening. So your hard-to-market degree in ethics or law. Suddenly, it's the only thing keeping the company from a billion-dollar fine.
Okay, archetype number 3. This one is more about the people side. The AI team harmonizer.
Generates trust and translation between humans and AI.
Karp actually mentioned this indirectly. He said AI environments are low trust. He said Palantir doesn't even have a sales force because nobody trusts sales pitches anymore. You just have to show the product works.
It's a low-trust world, and inside companies, it's even worse. People are terrified their AI teammate is actually their replacement.
The ultimate frenemy.
The ultimate frenemy. If you introduce a powerful AI agent into a team without managing the psychology, the team will revolt. They will sabotage the data. They will refuse to use it. The project will fail no matter how good the tech is.
They'll go on strike, or worse, quiet quit, and just let the AI fail to prove a point.
Exactly. The harmonizer is the diplomat. They are the psychological safety officer. They are the ones integrating the people, the processes, and the tools so that the humans don't feel like they are working for the machine.
They're building the bridge.
They're building the bridge and managing the traffic. This sounds like the perfect role for the psychology majors or the HR professionals who are sick of just doing payroll and want to do actual organizational design.
It's the human element.
It is. It's about managing the interface between carbon and silicon. That friction point is where things break. The harmonizer greases the gears with empathy and understanding. They translate machine speak into human value.
And finally, let's talk about the AI enablement architect. This one sounds a bit more technical.
It is, but not in a coding way. It's more structural. Governance, workflow integration, anticipates, spots trends.
Okay.
Karp mentioned that sovereign nations struggle to adopt tech because of structural problems. They have legacy systems. They have PowerPoint realities.
But the architect builds the real reality.
Right.
They design the new structure.
Right. They design the rules of engagement. They aren't just installing software. They are building the governance structure so that the AI serves the human mission, not the other way around. They decide how the tool is used.
So they're asking questions like, who gets access to this data? What's the appeals process if the AI gets it wrong? How do we document its decisions for regulators?
All of those things. They are the city planners of the digital age. They're laying down the safe roads and the traffic laws before everyone starts driving their AI cars at 200 miles an hour.
So if we step back, these 4 roles, truth assessor, quality guardian, team harmonizer, enablement architect, these aren't the momentum drivers pushing for speed.
No.
These are the adults in the room.
They are the adults. And in 2026, with the speed of things accelerating like crazy, the world is desperate for adults. We have enough Ferraris. We need more steering wheels and brakes.
I want to play devil's advocate for a second here, because I can hear the voice of Alex Karp in my head. He's sitting there in his ski lodge saying, that's all very nice, harmony, truth, guardians. It sounds soft.
It sounds like fluff.
It sounds like PowerPoint reality. When the missiles are flying, does any of this matter?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? Is this just soft skills fluff? Is my AI role just giving people a nice title so they feel better while the engineers do the real work?
Right. Is this a participation trophy for the non-technical?
To answer that, we have to bring Jorg Huser back into the conversation. We need to look at his bio again, but through this battlefield lens. Because Jorg isn't a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
He isn't a theorist sitting in an ivory tower.
No, definitely not. His resume is intimidating.
Jorg has dual master's degrees, electrical engineering and organizational behavior. But look at his hard specs. He worked on the first EMV certification.
That's the chip in your credit card, right? That little gold square.
Yes. But think about what that actually means. EMV isn't just a piece of plastic. It is a cryptographic handshake. It is an end-to-end encrypted protocol.
It's a security system.
It requires a rigid, unbreakable protocol to ensure that the money moving from bank A to bank B is real and hasn't been intercepted. Jorg Huser didn't just work on this. He was a lead architect for the U.S. Treasury EMV one-card program.
Whoa! DoD, Department of Defense, the U.S. Treasury.
Yes,
Okay.
he has worked in the exact same government defense circles that Karp operates in. He understands battlefield specs. He understands that in high-stakes environments, whether it's national defense or your bank account, a system that is 99% accurate is 100% failed. It has to be perfect.
That is a massive distinction. Karp loves battlefield efficiency, move fast, break things, kill the target. Jorg comes from mission-critical security, move deliberately, secure the line, protect the asset.
Exactly. One prioritizes lethality, the other prioritizes integrity. It's a completely different mindset. Jorg also worked on the design for Google's first self-driving car ruggedized memory system.
So he knows how machines think, and more importantly, he knows how they break.
He knows exactly how they break. And he knows that true security, the kind you need for the U.S. Treasury or a self-driving car, requires human oversight. You can't just let the code run free.
It needs guardrails.
It needs guardrails, built by people who understand the stakes. The MyAIRole system isn't built by a theorist. It's built by a guy who knows that if you remove the human factor from a secure system, the system eventually fails. It becomes brittle. It can't handle exceptions.
That is the key insight. He didn't build this platform because he doesn't understand the tech. He built it because he does understand it at a deeper level than almost anyone.
He understands that machine logic, which Karp loves, lacks context. It lacks ethics. It lacks the ability to make a judgment call when the data is gray or incomplete. Jorg pivoted to human-centered transformation, not because it's nice, but because it's necessary for the system to actually work in the real messy world.
So when MyAIRole talks about guardians and assessors, they aren't talking about token roles. They're talking about the fail-safes that keep the machine from driving off a cliff.
Exactly. Safety isn't fluff. Governance isn't fluff. In a world of deepfakes and algorithmic warfare, truth is the most hardcore asset you have. If you lose the truth, you lose the war, no matter how fast your missiles are.
I want to circle back to the listener now, because we started this episode talking about the anxiety, the Davos hangover, the fear of being the fat in the middle.
The fear of being the philosophy major with no job.
Right. If you are listening to this and you have a liberal arts degree, or you've spent 20 years in soft management, or you just care about things like ethics and people, this Karp interview probably made you feel pretty small.
It was a display of power. It was designed to say, we have the guns and the algorithms, you have the PowerPoint.
Your skills are obsolete.
You are a legacy system.
But the so what here, the takeaway, is that you can flip that narrative completely. You can turn that anxiety into a career strategy. We need to reframe the specific majors Karp attacked.
Let's do it. If you are a philosophy major, you have spent years studying logic, ethics, epistemology. You know how to deconstruct an argument. You know how to spot a logical fallacy from a mile away.
You are a natural-born AI truth assessor.
IR. You can look at an AI output and say, that argument is invalid, that premise is flawed. An AI can't do that. It just predicts the next word based on probability.
Yeah.
A human judges validity. That is a massive marketable skill.
Okay, what about if you are a psychology major or you've worked in HR or counseling? You understand people.
You are a natural AI team harmonizer. You understand human motivation. You understand fear. You understand trust. As we said, AI is a low-trust technology. Companies will pay a premium for someone who can bridge that gap and get the team working again. That's not a soft skill. That's a bottom-line skill.
And if you are a lawyer or in compliance or even just someone who is a real stickler for rules and details, the person who actually reads the terms and conditions.
You are an AI quality guardian. And let me tell you, as regulation catches up to AI, and it will, it's already happening, companies are going to be scrambling for guardians.
They'll be worth their weight in gold.
The EU AI Act, the U.S. executive orders, compliance is going to be the biggest growth sector in AI. Your ability to understand and implement rules is not a bug. It's the most valuable feature you have.
The action plan that comes with the MyAIRole assessment, we talked about this in EP1, it steers you toward these roles. It helps you monetize your expertise without learning to code.
And that is the key phrase, no restart required. You don't need to go back and learn to weld batteries, as Karp suggested. You need to take the wisdom you already have, the engine you've built over 20 years, and connect it to the AI transmission.
There is a great example in the source material of a guy named Anthony T. He's a marketing strategist. His quote was, "Bridged useful AI technologies to my innate human wisdom."
I love that. He didn't become a robot. He used the robot to amplify his wisdom. He didn't try to outcompute the AI. He outthought it. He used his human judgment as the steering wheel.
This connects to something we touched on briefly, the economy of identity. It's a big concept, but it's really important here.
Yes. This is the philosophical core. In the battlefield economy, the Palantir vision value is about destruction or extraction. How efficiently can we target? How much cost can we cut? It's a subtractive economy. It treats humans as a cost to be minimized.
It's about cutting the fat until you hit the bone, and then wondering why the system is so brittle.
Exactly. But in the MyAIRole economy, value is about stewardship and wisdom.
Yep.
It's additive. It's about how we guide this intelligence to create something sustainable, something better.
So it shifts the focus.
It shifts the focus from human doing, how fast can I type, how many rows can I process,
Yeah.
to human being. Who am I? What do I stand for? What is my judgment? And how do I apply that to guide this powerful tool?
And companies will pay for that human being part. This isn't charity.
They will have to. They already are. Look at the civil liberties concern again. The YouTube commenter who said, "We are now expendable," spied on like China. That is a massive reputational risk for any company. If your customers think you are Big Brother, they leave. Trust is the currency of the future. It's the only currency that AI can't counterfeit.
Huge. If you lose trust, you lose the market. It's that simple.
So who fixes that? Who restores trust? The AI quality guardian, the company that hires a strong guardian and empowers them to actually say no, can go to the market and say, "We are safe, we are ethical, we have humans in the loop who care about your rights."
That becomes a brand differentiator.
It becomes a competitive advantage. It's the organic food of the AI world. Certified human oversight, people will pay more for that.
I like that analogy. It really is. And MyAIRole provides the blueprint to build those teams. They talk about identity-safe teams, teams where you don't have to hide who you are or pretend to be a machine to fit in.
Which leads to better retention, better innovation, and frankly, a better world to live in. It's good for business and it's good for the soul.
So we have covered a lot of ground today. We stared into the abyss of the Davos interview. We saw the battlefield. We saw the fat in the middle comment.
It was a dark place.
But then we saw the antidote. We saw the guardians. We saw the truth assessors. We saw Karene Huser's hospitality battling Alex Karp's war machine.
It's quite a matchup, high-tech versus high-touch.
It really is, and I think it clarifies the choice we all have to make in 2026. It's not a complicated choice, but it is a conscious one.
You really do have two choices. Option A, you accept the battlefield narrative, you believe Alex Karp, you believe you are just fat waiting to be cut, you live in terror, or you try to become a vocational technician and compete with the robots on speed.
Which sounds exhausting and honestly futile. You can't win that game.
It's a losing battle. The machine will always be faster. The machine never sleeps. It doesn't need a coffee break.
Option B.
Option B, you take command. You realize that the machine is powerful, yes, but it is blind. It has no soul. It has no ethics. It has no ground truth other than what it was fed. It needs a guardian. It needs a truth assessor. It needs a harmonizer.
The machines can process the data, but they cannot care about the outcome.
Exactly. Caring is the human role. That is the MyAIRole, is the part the machine can't do.
So if you are feeling that Davos hangover, if you are feeling that anxiety bubbling up, stop doom scrolling. Stop reading the YouTube comments about how we are all doomed. Do something about it.
Action is the best antidote to anxiety. Don't just sit there and let the battlefield narrative define you. Define yourself.
Head over to the MyAIRole.com. Just like we said in the last deep dive, it starts with the assessment.
It's 10 minutes. It's not a test. You cannot fail it. There are no wrong answers. It's about discovery, not judgment.
It generates that personalized AI superpower roadmap. And specifically after listening to this, look for those guardrail archetypes. Find out if you are the quality guardian the world needs right now. Find out if you are the truth assessor who can stand up to the battlefield mentality.
We need those people. We need you to take those roles.
Yeah.
Because if we leave AI solely in the hands of the momentum drivers and the battlefield generals, we are going to get a world that is very fast, very efficient, and very, very scary.
There's a great line to end on from Alex Karp himself. He says, "The revolution will expose the market value of what you do. We believe your market value is higher than ever if you know your role."
That's the truth. Know your role and take command.
Stay human, stay relevant, and take command. We'll catch you in the next deep dive. See you then.